Привет! Today I'm going to guide you through Russian reading rules. This video will be perfect for those who has just learned Russian alphabet and ready to dive more into Russian reading. Also, this video will be helpful for your pronunciation and accent. But be prepared, there are a lot of complicated rules today, so be ready to sweat. Also, in the end of this video, we're going to practice everything we're going to learn with Russian tongue twisters. So stay tuned and let's get started. The first thing we're going to discuss is Russian stress. In Russian, every word has one stressed syllable, and it's very important to know where to put this stress because in some cases, incorrect stress can change the whole meaning of word or its grammatical meaning, which also affects the sentence structure. The stress in Russian is not fixed, it's very unpredictable, and it can be on any syllable. And also, we usually don't use accent marks when we write. Usually, if you use the textbook for beginners, you will find text with these special marks just for you to practice. But in real life, we don't write it. The best way to learn Russian stress is memorize it by listening and repeating native speakers and also practice reading a lot. Below, you can find some examples where stress affects on the meaning of word or its grammatical role. Repeat after me. Замок, castle, замок, lock. Дома, at home, it's a location. Дома, houses, it's plural. Вина, wines, вина, fault. Мука, torture, мука, floor. I have already mentioned this example in one of my previous videos, take a look here. The next aspect we're going to discuss is vowel reduction. In Russian, unstressed vowels are not pronounced as clearly as stressed vowels. So the alteration of a vowel in unstressed position is called reduction. As a result of reduction, some letters pronounce differently, not as we pronounce them in the alphabet. Below you can find some examples which can help you to understand the difference. Please repeat after me to practice your pronunciation. The first letter is letter A. Worth mentioning that when a vowel is under the stress, it's always going to be pronounced as in the alphabet. So A under the stress, pronounced as A, мать. But when A is not under the stress, when it's unstressed, we pronounce it like A. So observe this with these two words. Книга, машина. I don't say книга или машина. I make it like A. Книга, машина. Try and repeat after me. In English, it's pretty close to word photography, as you pronounce A in photography. It's like A sound. The next letter is letter O. When it's stressed, it's pronounced just like O. Дом, стол. But when it's unstressed, it's pretty close to A or this sound. Repeat after me. Молоко, отель. Молоко, отель. By the way, in some small regions of Russia or older generations sometimes tend to pronounce O always as O if it's unstressed, like молоко or отель. But it's very seldom, it usually happens in small regions, but you better learn that it's pronounced like молоко, отель. The next letter is letter Е. When it's stressed, it's pronounced like Е, as in word yellow, for example. Лень. But when it's unstressed, we pronounce it as I. Repeat after me. Телевизор. Телевизор. As you see, I don't say телевизор. I change Е to I and O to E. Телевизор. Телевизор. Good. The next letter is letter Я. When it's stressed, we pronounce it like Я, like in yacht in English. Пять. When it's unstressed, it's again pronounced as I. Пятнадцать. Пятнадцать. As you see, I don't say пятнадцать. I say пятнадцать. Пятнадцать. So even the last A is very, very slight and pretty close to E. And worth mentioning that letters I, U, U, and E have no changes in unstressed position. They always pronounced as in the alphabet. Very lucky letters. Also about letter Ya, worth mentioning that there are some exceptions, but usually it happens when two vowels go in a row. For example, биология. If even stressed syllable, if with O, биология. In the end, I'm saying iya, iya. So when two vowels goes in a row and one of them is ya is pronounced as ya. Биология, красивая, like this. Well done. That was all you need to know about vowels. Now we are moving to consonants. And here we're going to discuss hard and soft consonants. All consonants sounds in Russian are divided into groups, soft and hard. Sometimes the sounds create pairs. Both hard and soft consonants are represented with the same letter. So, how to understand if it's hard or soft? You need to look at the letter which is going right after the consonant. So the sound is soft if the letter is followed by I, Ye, Yu, Ya, Yo or soft sign. Otherwise, consonant is hard. Now repeat after me. I will read the syllable. First syllable is always hard, second syllable is always soft, and after this I will pronounce the consonant sound itself so you could hear the slight difference in my pronunciation and try to copy and shadow me. Ba, bie, b, b. Va, vя, v, v. Ga, ги, g, g. Da, де, d, d. За, зи, z, z. Ку, ки, к, к. La, ля, l, l. A lot of my students struggle with soft L. If you are a native German speaker, you probably are not going to struggle with this, but if your first language is English, you might have some difficulties here. And your position of tongue in your mouth is pretty close to if in English you were pronouncing word bold or any other combination of L and D. Your tongue is touching not your teeth, but a little bit backward. And that's how we in Russian make soft L. L, L. When I pronounce L, I'm touching my teeth itself, but when I pronounce L, I'm touching a little bit backward. The next one. Ma, mi, m, mi. Na, не, n, не. Па, пе, п, п. Ро, ри, р, ре. Сы, си, с, с. Та, те, т, т. Фа, фи, ф, фи. Ха, хи, х, х. As you see, often to pronounce the soft variants of each consonant, my lips need to go a little bit down, like s, b, v. I need to make some effort to put them down a little bit. You might think that the difference is too slight and not important, but actually sometimes it's again influence on the meaning of word directly. For example, two different words are мел и мель, или был и бил. They are completely different and you need to be very careful for people could understand you correctly. Of course, it wouldn't be a Russian language if we didn't have some exceptions here. So, letters zh, sh, and ts are always hard. So, if even they are followed with I, ye, we still pronounce them hard. We're not trying to make them soft. We change the vowel, not the consonants. For example, word жир. You see, zh is followed by I, but we're not trying to say жир. We just replace I with I in our pronunciation and say жир. The same with женщина. We don't try to say женщина. We just replace ye with e and say женщина. The same with цирк. We're not trying to make цирк. We just pronounce I as I, цирк. And the last example is чай. If even ch is followed by a, ch is always soft consonant. That's why we pronounce a as ya, чай. The next aspect we're going to discuss is devocalization. Most consonants in Russian create pairs by being voiced or voiceless. Let's look at these pairs. It's b and p, v, f, j, sh, g, k, d, t, and z, s. I have already explained these pairs in the video about Russian alphabet. If you don't remember and want to review, you can check this video. So, as you see, when we pronounce voiced consonants, we can put our hand on our vocal cords and we will feel the vibration b, v, j. But when we pronounce the voiceless pair, it's we're not going to use our vocal cords. It's going to be pretty calm and still. P, f, sh. So the vibration is pretty slight or we don't feel a vibration at all. So, what is devocalization? It's a process when voiced sound turns into voiceless sound before another unvoiced consonant or at the ends of the word or before soft sign. Let's look at the examples. Please repeat after me. So, examples where voiced consonants become voiceless in the end of the word. Друг, обед, этаж. As you see, we don't say друг, обед, этаж. We say k instead of g, t instead of d, and sh instead of zh. Actually, it's pretty comfortable to pronounce it. If even you want to say друг, обед, you might feel that you need too much effort to say this word. Asian Slavic people feels completely the same. That's why they created the vocalization. And now we say друг, обед и этаж. Now before another unvoiced consonant. Ложка, водка и лавка. As you see, we don't say ложка. So we pronounce sh instead of zh because of k. So k influence on the previous consonant. Ложка, ложка. The same with vodka, vodka. We don't say vodka. It's very hard to say like this. But we pronounce t instead of d. Vodka. And lavka, we say f instead of v. Lavka. And the last group of examples is before soft sign. Обувь and дождь. So we don't say обувь or дождь. It's very difficult to say. We say обувь, дождь. No, as you see, soft sign standing at the end of the word and consonants is standing at the end of the word as well, and it's pretty close to the first group of examples. And another rule which is very connected to the previous one is the opposite, vocalization. It's just the opposite process when voiceless sounds turn into the voiced sounds before another voiced consonant. Pairs are completely the same. It's pretty seldom process, and there are only two examples I can think up for you, is football. As you see, it's more like d sound than t. And сделать. So we write s, d, but d influence on s, and we pronounce it as z, сделать. But of course, in any rule, we have an exception, and here it is. This rule doesn't work before letter v. So we say квартал и квартира. We don't say квартал и квартира. It's hard to say. We say квартал и квартира. So it doesn't work before letter v. Very well done. You have learned almost everything about Russian reading rules. The last thing I wanted to mention is unusual combinations, which are often pronounced in a certain different way than we write it. And you just need to remember them. First example is тся и тся with soft sign. Usually you can see this in verbs. We pronounce it as ца. For example, волнуется, учится. We don't say учится или волнуется. We say ца, волнуется, учится. The next example is when cht pronounced as st. The very popular example is что. Word что. We don't say что. We say что. And the last combination is chn, which is often pronounced as shn. For example, конечно. Sometimes people can say конечно, but it has an ironical meaning in this. But конечно is the correct way to pronounce this word. So, let's review everything we have learned today. Russian stress is very unpredictable and can fall on any syllable in word. How to memorize? Just repeat after native speakers. Also, we have learned about alternation of vowels in unstressed position. Unstressed a goes to unstressed o also goes to and unstressed ye and ya goes to I. The third thing we have learned is that sounds are softened when followed by I, ye, you, yo, ya, or soft sign, with some exceptions. And the most complicated and very advanced rule is that before unvoiced consonants and the ends of the words and before final soft sign, letters b, v, g, d, zh, z are turned to unvoiced pair sounds. And the opposite, unvoiced sounds become voiced before other voiced sounds. And now we're going to practice everything we have learned today. My favorite kind of practice is tongue twisters. I always start lesson with my students with tongue twisters to practice their pronunciation. But before we start our reading practice, I have a small checklist for you how to read in Russian as a beginner. First of all, check the stress. After this, reduce unstressed vowels. After this, check the consonants and soften them if needed. Then devocalize voiced consonants and vocalize unvoiced consonants if needed. So now make a pause on this video, read these tongue twisters, and after this check yourself with my pronunciation. So the first tongue twisters. Стоит воз овса возле воза овца. Here we have devocalization of z in the end of the word. We don't say voz, we say vos. Also, we have unstressed o in word овца and pronounce it as a. And we have devocalization of v next to ts. It goes as f, овца, овца. And by the way, one more unstressed o in word стоит, and we say with a, стоит, стоит. One more time. Стоит воз овса возле воза овца. The second one is Лене лень учиться, Лене лень лениться. Here we have a lot of soft l, which is very difficult sound for a lot of students, and also this ца combination, which is pronounced as ца. One more time. Лене лень учиться, Лене лень лениться. And also in the last word, лениться, you see e is under the stress, and e, the previous e, pronounced as e because it's unstressed, лениться. The third tongue twister is мед есть, в улей лезть. Мед есть, в улей лезть. Here we have devocalized d in the end of word мед. We don't say мед есть, we say мед, мед. And the same with лезть, лезть. Z becomes devocalized because of following t, лезть, and we pronounce it as s. One more time. Мед есть, в улей лезть. And the last and very difficult tongue twister is краб крабу сделал грабли, подал грабли крабу краб, грабь граблями, гравий краб. It's difficult even for me, I can't read this very fast, but here we have devocalized b in the end of word crab. We say краб, краб, not краб. So b becomes p. And we have the opposite process with word сделал. The influence on s, and we pronounce it as z, сделал, сделал грабли. Also, we have devocalized b in word грабь, грабь. As you see, it's soft sign and it's end of the word, that's why we pronounce b as p, as p. Also, we can observe that we pronounce ya as e in word граблями, граблями. And the last time, краб крабу сделал грабли, подал грабли крабу краб. Грабь граблями, гравий краб. Very well done. If you have watched until the end of the video, my congratulations, you have managed this. Take your time, practice this with real text, and you will see that it becomes easier each time. If you like my approach and want to study Russian with me, please also let me know in the comments and text me what sound was the most difficult for you. See you in the next videos, and bye bye!